What's going on? This is Will McCraven. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Leave a like, make a comment. We'll be gladly appreciated. Also, there's a link in the description below that will allow you and direct you to making a donation, which would gladly be appreciated. And without further ado, as usual, I'll jump right into this. So I said on the previous joint that I have this outfit on, and every single time I wear this, and I said this on a previous video that's probably about a year or two old. Every time I wear this, I'm reminded how my life changed. In which this is the outfit that my son I had on when my son was born. It's kind of interesting because I did not expect to see his mother today, and yeah, oddly enough, I was surprised she actually remembered that this was the outfit I had on when he was born, and we actually had the conversation about that whole experience with him, and then he asked us a few questions, which is interesting because I had no plans of seeing her today. I actually just went to her grandmother's house because her grandmother has made known that our son is her favorite grandchild. So yeah, it's been a little minute, and I decided that we weren't that far from there, so stop by there and he see her, and she see my face. But it just so happened that she was there, and of course, I mean, let them two do their thing, and it's interesting, man, because how my life changed with him is technically the stuff that you all get from me. It's technically because of him. All this stuff was birthed, and I might have said this before, because I had anticipating on recording videos in regards for them to be left to him, and he can dig through them and go through them and just get stuff. But it kept being pressed upon me by other people, like, man, you should do so and so videos. Man, you got enough knowledge, and you know what I'm saying, you be spitting the stuff to us and we appreciate it. So it was like, all right, I'll do these. But it makes me really think about the conversation that I had with my dad. And I know some people, well, females tend to love the fact that when I speak on my ex-wife and showing her love and making sure, you know, that she feels appreciated regardless of what transpired in our marriage, because I look at it from the standpoint of I'm this example that I'm being to my son. Because I had this on in another video, and I said other videos, like, you're gonna see this on in another video, and it's like, man, I have to be that example, because all of the stuff that I say in these videos, I know me, and I know how it was with my father, and I know how to teach my son. And as a child and growing up, even in my teenage and 20s, if you said something, I'm looking to see if you was going to be a hypocrite. So I know a lot of the stuff that I say, my son evaluates it. Now, on these videos that I done for today in this outfit, he's not been sitting here. But for the most part, he sits and he listens and he asks me questions afterwards. So there are things that I generally do in regards to making sure that they have a harmonious relationship. And the only way I can do that is acknowledge things I've done, things I've said that maybe hinder that. Like me and my ex-wife last month had an actually good conversation via text message. And it was sometime after the accountability video. Like I said in the previous video, the stuff I say in these videos, I do. So, the accountability video talked about, as men, we have to be accountable. So, there was just some things that I knew that I needed to say in regards to my ex-wife. Because, as I said in the previous video of this, they respond off of security. And in order for them to feel secure, you have to do certain things. So, of course, regardless of what transpired in my marriage, I took full responsibility for all of it. Now, I know some guys are going to be like, oh, I ain't doing that. She did so and so and so. For me, it's like, okay, I chose her, I married her, and I did that for various reasons. So, things going awry, more or less, had to do with me. And as I said in the video I already put out about your presence, sometimes we forget. And there were instances where, my presence was strong. And some people didn't like that my presence was strong. And seek to minimize it. And unfortunately, going through a lot of things during that time period, I just backed away in certain areas. And that, the biggest blow, I may not really I would talk about certain things, but I could talk about this aspect. The biggest blow that I ended up being dealt with that really kind of just like caused me to just stand back a lot, which ultimately kind of just started the whole downward spiral, was my little brother being killed. And it's interesting, it might have been this week, last week, I don't even know what day it is. Yeah, it was last week, because today's the first day, it's the 9th. March 5th, day I'll never forget, my little brother, that was his birthday, and got that phone call, and that's a cry I've never cried in my entire life. I have never cried a cry like that ever. And one of the most hurtfulest moments in my entire life. And that was just a series of going through a time period where a lot of people who were near and dear to me started falling off. So, yeah, that just, it did something to my presence. So, needless to say, I opt to apologize for all that. And what it invoked was her telling me that she needed to hear that. And she appreciated me telling her that. And of course, she decided to apologize for the stuff that she did, but I wasn't looking for that. I was specifically looking for the answer she gave me to give her release. Because I kind of knew that already. But for some particular reason, how I said what it is, the things that it is that I said, triggered the release. which became necessary. And I can honestly say since then there's just been a difference in actions, and it's translated to other areas. So as a man, you may not want to do so and so and so. That may not be for you, but for me and how I do things, I don't mind taking ownership of what I've done. I have no problem with admitting that I'm wrong. And maybe that's why I get a lot of people to be open with me. Because it's nothing for me to admit that I'm wrong. I can be perfect in the sense of being mature. And that's mature of me, perfect, to admit when I'm wrong. Because I also understand from the aspect of perfect, I'm not flawless. See, there's two meanings right there for the word perfect. On that side of the spectrum, a lot of things I'm going to do that's going to not be flawless. It's not going to have where it's like, oh, there was a blemish there. Nope, no. This just not going to happen. But for me to be perfect, to be mature, and the bigger person to be like, you know what, I didn't do that right. That is commendable. That allows you to be in the lane of being a hero. Like I said in the video previously, that my dad was my hero. Simply because my whole entire life, I've watched my dad admit that he was wrong. I seen my dad cry. I've seen him take crap that I felt like he shouldn't have taken. And my dad easily could have been that dude to take your head off. But my dad understood that he had people watching him. And I understand that. And at first I was going to do a video in regards to that whole LeBron James incident, but I changed my mind on that. But in regards to what I am saying now, I will say what I was going to say in regards to that. My OGs put me to the side and told me there's certain things that you just can't do. And I appreciate that. But I think I am going to do that video, but not with the LeBron James. But whatever. But yeah, at the end of the day, man, you have to know when you've done certain things. And being able to see if your actions has someone trapped. And even if it doesn't look like, well, it was totally your fault and you might share equal blame. Sometimes if you say certain things and say in the right manner, you can release a person. And it can change everything going forward. And I admonish you today to reflect, evaluate your life. We have this thing where we don't like to want to deal with the past. But I teach this thing as to you need to deal with the past. You need to look back in the past because there are certain things that you may have done that may have caused someone to have an issue. And that's, as they would say, the blood is on your hands. And you're holding and blocking someone else. Me, I like to tend to keep my hands clean. Especially when I know something and I might have caused something. And that's something that I try to keep in my my mind, that what it is something that I may have done or can do and possibly do or should not do. And that's this here. Did I cause it? If it's yes, can I fix it? And if yes, I can't fix it, then I accept responsibility for my actions, and then I learn from it. But if I didn't cause it, I move on. If I can't fix it, I move on. Because there's no sense in wasting time and doing certain things that you just cannot fix and you didn't cause. It's beyond your control. But the minute you realize that you've done certain things and it's brought to your attention, whether it's from the spirit realm or someone saying something, I would behoove you to take action upon that thing, because you could very well have somebody trapped, not being able to move forward because they held on to that, trying to figure out, why did this happen? Why didn't this happen? I don't understand this. Hopefully you have that privilege to be able to figure that out. But as a man, count up the cost. Count up your actions. Really reflect, sit down and think about certain things. Because there are certain people that have come in your life that don't want to have nothing to do with you, or they deal with you a certain kind of way. And 9 times out of 10, it might have been something you did that you don't even know about. You know, we live in this era where it's like, well, I don't care. But man, it's a different notion to know that you can go anywhere and do anything because your slate is clean. And that's something I learned from my dad. I watched my dad growing up where he could go to any neighborhood he wanted to. He knew the worst of the worst in that neighborhood and the worst of the worst, and would befriend them all. And it allowed him to just float and go anywhere. Never be afraid. None of that. Man had no fear, like crazy. Like, how in the world? I remember as a kid taking me up into Cabrini Green, like, they say this is the welcome to the jungle. What we doing over here? He knew people there. Oh man, I remember it so, like, people looking and it's like, but he knew who such and such was. It's like, oh yeah, hey, and then they look, oh okay, he cool. Like, bruh, like, are we gonna make it out of here? Yeah, we did just fine. But I mean, and that's something I learned too, in which I've gone to various places and like, yeah, I know somebody over there. I always made it my business. If I'm gonna go somewhere, I know somebody over there, and I'm cool. But yeah, man, really reflect on your life. I have to share this, but the whole in hopes that, you know, as men we be accountable. This is basically one of those videos where it's like, yeah, I told you all about being accountable, and I opted to say something that was accountable. Me taking ownership. And in taking ownership, my ex-wife actually ended up saying later in that exchange that we had that she learned how to be a wife and actually being with me. So I actually appreciated that. But yeah, man, be the bigger person. We're the leaders. We lead. And at the end of the day, if they're going to follow us, it's based upon how you lead. And I can honestly say that I appreciate some of the things that I have done. And I don't take it for granted, because my ex-wife will still call me about important matters before she called anyone else to get my actual opinion on it. That's a privilege. That tells me I've done something right. Even though it didn't work, I've done something right. Ask yourself, can you say that? And I'm sure I've heard plenty of guys that can say, well, yeah, my ex-wife or so and so, we like best friends. That's a notch on your belt. Shows you got some form of skills there. And with that, as I said in a previous video, that's something you can use and remind to where it's like, we appreciate you, we respect you because you did so and so, and you can do so and so, and you did do so and so. So with that being said, man, hit that like, hit that share and subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Leave a comment. We gladly appreciate it. Like to make a donation down below. And as I always say, or as I used to say, fix your face, fix your spirit. Appreciate you. Be easy. Be productive.